And we rocket from the starting gate on this Thursday afternoon here at Aqueduct. This is Aqueduct Insider on MSG Plus. What a pretty sunset. Good to see some sun in South Ozone Park, Queens this afternoon. Glad you're with us here. Settle in for the next 30 minutes or so. It's Jason Blewitt, and look who's back. Maggie Wolfendale, first day back from vacation. We're glad you're back. You have a good time?
Yes, I did. Over in England, it was actually nice weather, better than it was here, so kind of reluctant to come home a bit, but it's good to be back in action here, get back in the swing of things.
Absolutely. Cold day here in the paddock. Many horses came over with their blankets on. Many grooms and trainers had winter hats on, but it's warm here in the studio, and wherever you are, we hope you're toasty and warm too. As we begin with headlines, and this is sort of a jam-packed headline segment, you know, you think about pretty much the second weekend in February, there is something for everybody, including that big matchup in the San Antonio out at Santa Anita between California Chrome and Shared Belief.
Yeah, exactly. And our good friends Andy Sterling and Richard Migliore covering that for Fox Sports 1. But taking a look at this matchup, I mean, of course, we'd love to see Bayern in here, but we're really happy to see these two at least meeting again. Both of them coming off wins in their respective races, and a great matchup because, I mean, you have the gutsy little gelding in Shared Belief, and California Chrome, the kind of blue-collar horse of California.
And California Chrome, the first 3-year-old horse of the year to return since Curlin, 3-year-old colt horse of the year since Curlin back in '07 to come back to the races, and a look at Shared Belief, drawing away and crushing older horses, including Game On Dude and Pacific Classic. And you look forward to the rematch. Obviously, these are two world-class talents. You've got a reigning horse of the year, and the Breeders' Cup Classic did not decide who was the better horse on the racetrack, given that rough start and the fact that Shared Belief was completely slouted at the break by Bayern. We hope everybody has a clean trip on Saturday among the big two, an even opportunity for Bob Baffert.
Yeah, and this is the 5th consecutive race that Bob Baffert has offered up some kind of stiff competition for Shared Belief to kind of try to take him down. He claims there's no rivalry, but almost seems that there is between those two camps.
The handicap horses will be in action late Saturday afternoon at Gulfstream Park. No fewer than 13 races on the Don handicap card, and the Don, of course, the Grade 1 worth $500,000, goes as race 13 of 13, and it's got a defending winner in the mix. Lee, who was so game and determined in his comeback race in the House Hope, looks for his 2nd consecutive Don win.
Yeah, and we haven't seen that since Cigar with this same trainer, Bill Mott, so he knows how to get it done. He was sidelined after his win in last year's Don Handicap by a virus that just didn't want to go away. Bill Mott was able to talk the owners into keeping this horse around because of the progress he was making, and it paid off. Bill, well, he knows what he's talking about.
Todd Pletcher, I think the biggest threat to Lee's defense in the Don, of course, Todd running 3 horses, a perennial leading trainer down at Gulfstream Park, and he'll have no fewer than 3 horses entered in the Don against Lee. Among them, and I think topping the Pletcher trio, Constitution, who, of course, liked Gulfstream Park.
Yes, he did. He ran very well in that kind of 3-year-old campaign. He got a bit lost during the Derby and the Triple Crown season, but it looks as though he's back on track, and not to mention he also sends out Commissioner and Protonico.
All right, fair enough. Back out to the West Coast, and keep in mind there'll be a $500,000, $500,000 guaranteed minimum in that cross-country pick 4. That links a couple of stakes at Gulfstream Park, the GP Turf, the Don, along with the San Marcos and the San Antonio. Now, this race for 3-year-olds that we'll talk about in preview, the Bob Lewis, is not part of that cross-country pick 4. It's a standalone event, however, as we get Firing Line and Dortmund meeting in their respective 3-year-old debuts, and both those horses were very good as 2-year-olds.
Yeah, they were. I mean, Dortmund, he's undefeated heading into this one. Once again, we see a Bob Baffert and Kaleem Shaw teaming up with promising horses in kind of every division, and he looks like he's really back on track as far as the body of work that he's bringing into here, at least from his morning workouts. I mean, his last half was 47-3 at Santa Anita. This is a home track. He's shown that he can travel and win, but it's also nice to kind of get that win back where you're based.
And from the warm weather to the cold weather here at Aqueduct, 3-year-olds will go to the post in the 135th running of the Withers. 17 Kentucky Derby points total will be up for grabs, and El Kabir drew the outside post in that field of 7.
And God bless him and his connections for keeping them here. It's training at the Belmont Trading Track each and every morning. It's not easy to do, Jay, because you're dealing with tracks that, I mean, just aren't that consistent. I mean, one day you have one that's really beachy and really deep, and the next it's frozen, and the next it's thawing. So John Terranova and his team have done great work with this horse to keep him in line in those Derby preps, and wishing him the best for the Withers. He's going to go in there as the favorite, and he's very talented.
He's looking for his third consecutive graded stakes wins on the heels of the Kentucky Jockey Club and that race we looked at in the Jerome. And, of course, he's got a man who's seen just about everything, veteran rider C.C. Lopez.
Chucky, you rode El Kabir absolutely perfect the first time in the Jerome. He settled nicely just off the pace. In the Withers, it's a little bit of a funny read. Doesn't appear to be a great deal of pace. Where do you anticipate laying in the race?
Well, I still intend to ride him pretty much the same way I rode him in the Jerome. I mean, I think the idea still is to teach him how to switch off and turn back on when I need him to do it, because, you know, when he goes to the Gotham and the Derby and all of that stuff, I'm going to need him to do that, because I'm not going to be, I may not find myself optimally placed in those races. So I still intend to ride him just off the pace. I can do whatever I want from the outside post and go from there. I mean, if he should go to the lead, then so be it.
Chucky, you originally weren't named on him in the Jerome. You picked him up, and now you got to keep him here in the Withers. How does that feel, especially at this stage of your career?
Well, no one was more surprised than me that I would actually be able to keep them out. I mean, I was cautiously optimistic. I didn't project. I was happy when they did name me on them, and I'm quite humbled to be able to ride a horse like this. It's headed to the Derby at my stage in my career. It's pretty impressive.
What would it mean to you to get to the Kentucky Derby?
Well, I've never been. I've ridden 2 Preaknesses, and it would be the achievement of a lifetime. I've never won a Grade 1, so I'd like to win the Wood if I can help it if I get to the Derby. But yeah, it would be an achievement of a lifetime.
Well, good luck and congratulations.
Thank you.
He spent many winters riding here on chilly days on the inner track, and wouldn't that be something if Chucky Lopez, who's 54, born in Brooklyn, got to the Kentucky Derby on the first Saturday in May with El Kabir. You can't help but root for this colt.
You really do. I mean, the connections have been very humble with him and have kept him in spots where he can win, and it's great to see Chucky picking up this kind of horse. He was very humble in talking about it, too, so it's really kind of a feel-good story with El Kabir.
You can sense the excitement all the way. Best of luck to El Kabir as he faces 7 3-year-olds, including Classy Class and Saturday's Withers. But what about the Thursday card? Your first day back. We're off a bit of a 3-day layoff, 3 successive dark days. Here's John Abrial, who's back from vacation as well. He'll take us through race number 3, the Thursday feature for fillies and mares.
Hall from the inside post going out for the lead. And Image of Anna came away racing in second. Agawa is third. Evening shows on the outside in fourth. Then it's Wavell Avenue, who's now moving up from fifth. Down at the rail is Lots of Noodles, and the gray Lunar Surge trails in seventh. Faith Hall leads the field onto the backstretch. It's Faith Hall by a half length as Image of Anna draws closer on the outside. Then a gap of 3 lengths to Agawa and the big favorite Wavell Avenue. The quarter went in 23 3/5 seconds midway up the backstretch. Faith Hall in front now by a length and a half over Image of Anna. Another 2.5 to Agawa in third. Wavell Avenue is fourth, 6 lengths from the lead. Evening shows on the outside, then Lunar Surge and Lots of Noodles. The opening half mile in 48 seconds. Faith Hall, Image of Anna, they continue to run 1-2. Agawa is now moving up on the outside and getting closer. 3 of them across the track, just in behind Wavell Avenue and Evening Show. And then it's Lunar Surge. Farther back, Lots of Noodles. Agawa has taken over the lead with a quarter of a mile to the finish. Agawa in front by 2 lengths. Evening Show on the outside. Evening Show up to challenge Agawa for the lead. Wavell Avenue is down at the rail. Lunar Surge on the outside. In with a chance with a 16th to the finish. Evening Show and Agawa. Lunar Surge is third. They come for the wire. Evening Show and Agawa. Looked like Evening Show, but it will be a photo. Evening Show and Agawa, 2 long
It was a
shots.
little tough to call the winner. One thing clear, 1-5 favorite, Wavell Avenue, nowhere to be found against the top 3.
She really had nothing to offer. She was down there on the rail, had to settle for a distant 4th, but it was a battle of the 2 angels here, Jay, as we saw Angel cruise with a very, very gutsy Agawa at 21-1 over Evening Show on 1 of 2 Steve Clasera's horses in here, who, I mean, had been knocking at the door. A filly who spent most of the time hitting the board in her 15 career starts and just got the job done here today. She was in good form for Steve.
Consistent check getter for sure. 6-year-old mare by Master Command, bred in Pennsylvania. There's been some peaks and valleys in her career. She was a one-time monster at Parks. They shipped her to New York. She found the going a little tougher today. However, after a string of losses but running well, she was able to put things together at the expense of Agawa, and we'll see what Wavell Avenue can do. I do think the connections learned. She's probably a horse that wants to be on the engine. She doesn't want to raid inside, and we learned that about Wavell Avenue today. As we can get on to race number 4, race 3, the opening leg of the pick 6, and here's leg number 2 as we go back to John and Brielle for the call for the gate.
And they're off. A good start for the favorite. Divine Storm is out for the lead from the outside. Meisner Park now moves up. Uncle Duncan at the rail, so 3 of them across the track for the lead, and those 3 have opened up 4 lengths on Dynamo Flotilla in 4th. Rick Ant is 5th, and a big break. Another 10 lengths back to Don't Point, who trails the field in 6th. Uncle Duncan at the rail by a neck, with Meisner Park in between horses and Divine Storm on the outside. The quarter, 23 and 3/5 seconds as they race midway on the turn. Uncle Duncan narrowly over Meisner Park. Divine Storm is on the outside and moving up a bit, and just in behind the front runners, Dynamo Flotilla, who now takes to the outside for the run into the stretch. Uncle Duncan has opened up on the field. Uncle Duncan by 3. Then Divine Storm, Dynamo Flotilla on the outside. Dynamo Flotilla takes 2nd, going after Uncle Duncan. Uncle Duncan, Dynamo Flotilla, the stronger horse on the outside, and it will be Dynamo Flotilla to win by a length. Uncle Duncan was 2nd. Don't Point came from way out of it to finish 3rd.
And on a blustery Thursday here in Queens, we are reminded that Tony Dutrow is a pretty good second-time out trainer.
He really is. Blinkers on with Dynamo Flotilla coming in from Parks after really a non-effort that day, but his stablemate did come back to win. That was High Speed Chase. So, you know, the makings were there, but I thought good performances by both the first-time starters in here. When you look at Uncle Duncan, he had to break from the inside, never an easy thing to do, was sent to the lead, hung in there very gamely, and then a bit of a long shot to pay attention to. I think with Gary Contessa's horse, the son of Concord Point in here, Don't Point, distance in the early stages of the race, completely out of it on the backside, and really came with a run at the end, and then galloped out 10 in front of the field. So obviously a horse that needed the experience and might need a little more ground.
Right, Gary, not the kind of guy that cranks up his first time out. Maybe Don't Point, make some noise in his second start. They did pay a decent amount of money, $75K for that colt by Concord Point. We've got New York bred Shining in the late pick 4, the Frost Giant, New York bred Standout, and a lot more here. Look at that sunset here from the Big A on Aqueduct Insider. Welcome back to the Big A, MSG Plus, Aqueduct Insider. It is race number 6. That's where we are going next. Maggie Wolfendale, Jason Blewitt, glad you're with us for the second segment. That break was pretty quick. Went faster than a sprinter in 107, and we've got some pretty good sprinters forthcoming here. Johnny I with the call, State Bred 20 claimer.
The rail, and the 2 of them are heads apart for the early lead. Those 2 open up 3 lengths on Indy Tune, who's racing in 3rd. South Beach Sandy is next in 4th. Then Wild Finish in 5th. Farther back is Awesome Heart. And the trailer is So Scott in 7th. Cade Pomeroy steps away to lead here by 2 lengths. Ran the opening quarter in 23 and 2/5 seconds. Now NF's Destiny picks it up and gets closer to Cade Pomeroy. Indy Tune runs in 3rd. South Beach Sandy is next in 4th. A gap of 3 to Wild Finish. 4 more to Awesome Heart. And So Scott is at the back. On the outside, NF's Destiny. Down towards the rail is Cade Pomeroy, the half in 47 3/5 seconds. NF's Destiny now takes the lead from Cade Pomeroy. Indy Tune is third, now moving up into second. But in the meantime, NF's Destiny has drawn clear. NF's Destiny, the odds-on favorite, wins by 3 lengths. Indy Tune was second. South Beach Sandy got third. And Wild Finish finished fourth.
NF's Destiny was able to get outside the number 10, Cade Pomeroy, who Jose Ortiz told the stewards wasn't traveling all that great off the quarter pole, and he eased up on him. And speaking of being eased up, this is just a walk in the park for NF's Destiny.
Yeah, it was good to see this horse bounce back off of a disappointing effort last time out as he dropped in and was taken by Rudy Rodriguez here. Rudy tends to turn these kind of horses around a lot of times, especially for Michael Dubb. So NF's Destiny, not his normal way of running today,
right,
but it worked out. He was much the best.
And took the aluminum pad off as Erod Ortiz Jr. just had to wrap him up there in the last 100 yards, and a game effort out of a horse who's been a frequent and popular item in the claim box. La Verdad's older half-brother, that mare Noble Fire, she is something else. She is terrific. More state breds, though. This was a late, at least second half of the card, dominated by New York breds, and we continue on a good-sized field. Here's John Abrial with the call Thursday 7th.
Steadying there after the start was number 4, Slim Shady, and he trails the field. Kid Blast escaped to the moon. Between those two, it's a Mighty Celis. Decision points on the extreme outside. Ready Heart and Soul towards the rail. A break of 3 lengths to Broadway Bay and 3 more to Slim Shady. The trailer in 7th. Kid Blast by a head, with Mighty Zealous right there. And on the outside is Escape to the Moon. The quarter went in 23 2/5 seconds. Ready Heart and Soul sits just off the front 3. Decision points on the outside in 5th. The break of 5 to Slim Shady. 4 more to Broadway Bay as the field comes for the quarter pole. And here's Mighty Zealous to take over now. Mighty Zealous in front. Escape to the Moon runs in second. Then it's Decision Point, Kid Blast, and Ready Heart and Soul. Mighty Zealous trying to hold off Escape to the Moon with a 16th to the finish. Mighty Zealous on the inside and Escape to the Moon on the outside, and it's going to be Escape to the Moon to win by a length. Mighty Zealous was second, and Decision Point finished third.
Escape to the Moon with a stop in the winner's circle. Pretty game effort, first start in about 9 months for Bruce Brown.
Yeah, and kudos to Bruce Brown for getting this now new gelding back on track. I noticed in the paddock, Jay, he had lightened up a bit, and sometimes with those horses that were previously very heavy, very thus hard on themselves, and they kind of maybe have some nagging issues and stuff, to geld them, it's really the best thing that you can do for them. And he was cranked up and ready to go.
Yeah, good job. Malibu Moon gelding, owned and bred by Albert Freed Jr. out of a Giants Causeway mare. Very nice pedigree. A good effort in defeat, just wasn't good enough. Mighty Zealous spurted off the quarter pole, was just worn down late. It was far back to everybody else in race 7. What else happened on this Thursday card? Well, the sun was out, Johnny I was calling, and here is the Fantastic Four.
Unrepenting now up on the outside to challenge. So it's Battle Notes and Unrepenting right together as they come into the stretch. Full of Mine is third. The half in 47 4. Battle Notes on the inside. Unrepenting on the outside. Full of Mine in third. Then Blue Shark. American Mink is down at the rail as the field comes for the 16th pole. Unrepenting comes away with the lead. Full of Mine driving up on the outside. And Blue Shark, they come for the wire. Unrepenting got it by a head. Full of Mine was second. Moldavite has built a huge lead as she comes into the stretch. The half mile in 49 seconds. Moldavite in front by 8 lengths. Regifting up on the outside to take second. Portia is third. Then Double Up Dixie. Moldavite at 1-5. Breaks are made. Regifting was second. Portia third, and a photo for fourth. Lead in second, Tug of War back in third, and Midnight Taboo. Lucky Lotto has a 4-length lead. Midnight Taboo moves into second. Then it's Bold Deed, Becker's Galaxy, and Matt and Jesse. Here's a Lucky Lotto winner. under apprentice Angel Cruz. Lucky Lotto won by 7 lengths. Midnight Taboo second, close for third. Becker Dub and Suze Anne Marie's Gold as the field comes into the stretch. It is Brigetta, and on the outside, Nicole's Miss L. Those two are heads apart by leaps and bounds as dropped out of it. On the outside, Nicole's Miss L. And on the inside, it is Brigetta. And those two fight it out to the wire. And it's a photo finish in the finale. Nicole's Miss L. Or Brigetta.
Late in the day with that light sun outside, that light color in the Queen sky, and by a whisker, Brigetta in the last, a pick 6 carryover 15K. But you and I watched the race together and both looked at each other and go, did the 40-to-1 shot just win?
Wait a minute here. No, and then we had to watch a slow-mo to see that Brigetta did get the bob. But that was a good finish for the last.
Dropping down in class, Team Clear Star Stable, a couple of guys based up in Albany, in fact, who are lifelong racing fans. Good outfit there. Rick Schosberg, Cornelia Velasquez, your winning connections. As we get on to a real winner, the Frost Giant New York bred standout, and today's standout on this Thursday, February 5th. Well, we go back to NF's Destiny, who was terrific, taking race number 6.
And Jay, you mentioned this horse's dam. That's Noble Fire, and she's just been a great producer with La Verdad and NF's Destiny. They're just win machines. That's all they tend to do. And I mean, if you are able to get a Frost Giant, they're pretty gutsy as well. We could have had one in the last if What the Frost didn't drop a rider at the beginning.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, he's standing for 10K. There's the man. He looks terrific. A former winner, the Suburban at Belmont Park. To inquire, contact Eric Bishop, Eric at sunrisestallions.com. And we get on to the jockey standings here. 3 riders, 3 different riders, had 2 wins apiece, but Cornelia Velasquez spoiled a potential hat trick, taking the nightcap.
Well, it's great to see Cornelio back in the irons. It took him a little longer than he probably wanted, but you're better off being healthy. He was getting on horses the whole time during the morning when he was cleared. So he was doing his homework, he was prepping, he was making sure he was in tip-top form, and it's paid off.
And I think the main story as we get to the trainer standings, Linda Rice, who had a win today, picked up a few checks in other races, and her horses are running really, really well.
They are consistent and doing things, you know, she's not necessarily known for first-time stars, and both of them ran very well today, as she did pick up a win in the first, and she's closing the gap on David Jacobson.
And speaking of David Jacobson, he is near the top, if not on the lead in the owner standings. Indeed, 9 over Michael Dubb with 8, Rapoli Stable with 8, and a bunch of those guys have horses in tomorrow, including a few in our rescheduled ladies.
Yeah, I can definitely see the owner standing being a all-in-out war towards the end of the inner track.
And speaking of all-out wars, the over-under, I probably would have put it at 10 or maybe even 9, playing it conservative with shakes on Midnight Taboo. Only 3 people went in, reclaimed, and winning the shake, Leah Giamatti for Jeff Treadway.
I figured she would do this. They really put the time and work into this horse and lost him for, what, almost 3 times as much as what he was offered up for today. So I'm glad to see him back in the hands of Leah.
And Lucky Lotto defeated Midnight Taboo in race number 5 as we have a Friday preview, a pick 6 carryover, and a redrawn ladies handicap to talk about as we wrap things up here on Insider. Back at the Big A, it is New York City's racetrack after all. Great to get this 8-race card in. Back at it tomorrow with the first race post of 120. We've got the Withers here on Saturday, and the Grade 3 Toboggan is the feature or co-feature. Earlier in the day with Salute Those Amigos, a big favorite, and he's been a monster.
He really has. The latter half of 2014 and now turning our attention to 2015. This horse is just the model of consistency, Jay, and the job that David Jacobson has done with him is really remarkable.
Big effort Saturday. You may see him in the starting gate in the Golden Shaheen on that Dubai World Cup undercard. I don't know what the purse is, $2 or $3 million. It's down a straightaway, a 3/4 of a mile straightaway. David did mention that after Salute Those Amigos won the Gravesend. Regardless, we'll talk about all that on tomorrow's show. Let's get to Friday's 4th race. Again, an 8-race card. That 15K pick 6 carryover begins in race 3. This is leg number 2, and we look at Percussion, who's taking a big drop, but a horse that has not won a race since May of 2013.
And Jay, his last 3 have been bad, but this is the first time he's offered in this kind of company. So He is the speed, but he also has cheap speed to his outside. But he's drawn on the inside, which I think is advantageous for him and his rider.
David Jacobson, well, we get to him off the claimed, in fact, and picked up Snake Pit 41 days ago. He's got the pink cap, Dub Silks, and he's able to put away Conspiracy, and they just traded blows through the stretch.
They did. It looked like Conspiracy was going to get back at him here. And then Snake Pit, I think, switched his lead or just felt the stick. And he battled back here. Yeah, he switched leads there and put him back on track to the winner's circle and really showing up in the same place that he won for, though I think this is a little bit of a deeper field.
No, this came up a very solid 40. Chris Engelhart runs 2. He's got a big long shot in Rockford. The better of the 2 Engelhart horses. He's so fine, who's kept good company out of town.
He has, but Ramon Preciado had this horse down at Parks, and Ramon Preciado does a very good job, and to me, it's very hard to improve off of him, though this horse has some back class and some back races to go back on and be very competitive in here.
It's great seeing the reemergence of those mid to high price claimers on this circuit, and the proof is in the pudding in Friday's 4th. A solid crew of horses running for that aforementioned claiming tag. Bit later, race 7, it'll be the feature. It starts a stakes extravagant weekend here at Aqueduct. It's the $100,000 ladies, rescheduled from last Saturday. And look at that, a 2-time Grade 1 winner in the mix. What do we get from Belle Gallanty?
I don't know, Jay. Her last was very bad. She was a heavy favorite in the Affectionately, and the other fillies and mares just ran all over her. And to me, she's a mare who does her best running when on the front end. To me, she's not getting it tomorrow.
And a whole bunch of horses, in addition to Belle Gallanty, are dropping out of the Affectionately. Belle Gallanty is starting to drop back in the yellow. Penwith nearly got the money and was cut down by a whisker.
Penwith was ultra game here. I thought this was a great ride, aggressive, got her to the lead, and she set respectable fractions. She doesn't really like getting hit, which concerns me a bit, but I think she's a filly who's on the improve, and her last race at least has been great.
Moment in Dixie's been an overachiever. Doesn't win all that often, but she's always a nice price, and I like her to pull off the upset for Jimmy Toner. What do you think from the outside?
Why not? She's always in the mix. I'd like to see her a little bit more involved than what we saw in the Gopher Wines, which she showed in her last race. She can there at Presque Isle. So I think she's a very formidable kind of outsider.
Very good effort in this Gopher Wine, checking in third behind 2 very nice fillies. What does Belle Gallanty do tomorrow for Rudy? We talked to him last week. He sounded a bit on the fence in regards to whether Belle Gallanty would bring her best race at this point. We shall see. And you've got to play for us in Friday's first. We covered races 4 and 7, but what's the Paddock Insider for race 1?
Well, I may have cheated a little bit in here, Jay, because I do think that Chad Brown's alliteration will be very tough. She's a filly that I thought would need the extra ground. She's going to get it, going the 2 turns tomorrow. But a filly with an outsider's kind of chance is number 6, Silent Ronin, in here for Mike Wilson. First time, hopefully, fingers crossed, at the Weather Crop race that she's going to be on a fast track, or at least a drier track. And she's been screaming out, at least to me, physically and her disposition, that she wants to go longer. So I like the fact she was a little bit more involved in the game last time out, and I think she'll relish going 2 turns tomorrow.
It's an easy game. Box them up 2 ways for the pick 5. We are off and running at 1:20 this show, MSG Plus, with all of you tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Maggie, great job as always. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the Friday edition of Aqueduct Insider.